So a lot of people are wondering what's going on. Why is Bitcoin not moving yet? Since we had the halving event, why are we not at all-time high yet? Well, I got things to share with you about that. So what's going on? Okay, let's get started. The halving event, right, of course, did happen. So now, every day, there will only be 450 Bitcoin produced, not 900. It's been cut down to 450 per day. That's not a lot. That is not a lot if you think about it. That's the whole world fighting for only 450 being produced per day. Mr. 100, which I've covered before many times in the past, he usually purchases between 600 to 900 per day. He himself will buy more than all the new Bitcoin being produced. Think about that, okay? And of course, the halving event is the most bullish catalyst of any cycle, and I don't think it's going to be different this cycle. But if you look at the previous halving events, and we had 3 prior to our current one, so we just had our 4th. But if you look at the very first one, Bitcoin shot up 54x. Second halving, Bitcoin went up 13x. The last halving, 7x. And the current one, what will it be? Maybe a 5x, maybe a 4x. Even a 4x would put Bitcoin at 250,000 plus. That's a 4x. But if we did a 5x, we would be above 300,000. If we did a 7x, Bitcoin will be at $500,000 by the end of this cycle. Think about that. There's a possibility, because of the ETFs and institutional FOMO, there's a possibility we do a 7x like before that would put Bitcoin at $500,000 by the end of this cycle. That's quite amazing. That's quite amazing, guys. So we just gone through that. But of course, when you zoom out, it just seems like, well, it's so obvious, right? But when you zoom in, you'll realize that Bitcoin doesn't start moving right away after having events. Sometimes it takes months, especially in 2020 and 2021. That took a little bit before we started moving. So it could be this time around, or now that I'm back, we just start rallying. I don't know. But nevertheless, this is going to happen. This next leg up, this cycle, the parabolic phase of this cycle is about to come. Despite everything, despite JP Morgan still being, still offering a lot of Bitcoin services, and one of the only banks that can be a custody to BlackRock's ETF, Jamie Dimon is still saying there's no hope, and it's still a fraud, and it's still a Ponzi. Although JP Morgan, like I said, is very deep in Bitcoin right now. So, you know what? There will always be people that will try to scare you away. They'll tell you that, no, we topped out, or no, it's going to go down, or no, this or that, or whatever. But don't listen to them. Just like Warren Buffett, even though it's hard to ignore Warren Buffett because he has done so well for himself. But exactly 1 year ago, Warren Buffett said, I wouldn't spend $25 to buy all the Bitcoin in the world. And since then, Bitcoin has gone up $500 billion. So I would say, yeah, maybe he's wrong on that assessment, huh? $25 to make $500 billion. You know, there are some that will never convert. At least he's not as, you know, negative as Jamie Dimon, but still someone like Warren Buffett, you know, they will just never understand. It's just not their thing. It's just too new for them. But you know what? Luckily, most of you guys watching and all the institutions and everyone else don't have the same viewpoints. They do understand, and they're coming in and they're FOMOing in. Bitwise CEO thinks that wealth management firms will boost Bitcoin holdings, and not just them. Of course, the other funds too. Other funds have gotten permission to add Bitcoin ETFs into their holdings, and we have banks that are starting to do so. And then, of course, we have all the private companies and countries that are trying to do the same. They understand. Even the IMF is no fan of Bitcoin, not whatsoever. But even IMF has admitted that Bitcoin has become a necessary financial tool for preserving wealth amid financial instability. Even they recognize that. And these are the countries that they're trying to have a lock on or strangle on, right? Because the IMF and the World Bank, they loan these countries with financial instability. They like lock them in forever. And Bitcoin is helping them break out of that. So even the IMF is admitting this, even though they still don't recommend Bitcoin. But it's hard to ignore. Look at what has done for El Salvador and all these other countries that are turning pro-Bitcoin because of hyperinflation or instability. Swiss advocates wants to get the National Bank of Switzerland to hold Bitcoin in its reserves. That's also very, very positive, right? All these things, guys, they're all positive. They're all positive. So again, it's just a matter of time before a massive move is coming. And there are some that are predicting that, recently we had some volatility. We fell down to about 60,000, right? And we come back up. I mean, so we've been hovering here for quite some time. And now, we're around 66. But, we saw 60,000 hit a couple times. And there are some that think that that is our low now because we're about to hit the parabolic phase. This 60K could be our bottom. And we could maybe, I know it's dangerous to say, we may never see 60K or below 60K ever again once we start moving upwards. This could be the last time. We had a couple dips down to like 59.5 or whatever. They may be the last times we ever see those numbers again. Once Bitcoin hits $250, $300, $400, $500,000, are we ever going to see 59.5 again or even 60K for Bitcoin? Probably not. Probably not. So this could actually be the bottom point for those of you guys that may be waiting on the sideline saying, well, I'm waiting for lower. I'm waiting for 40K or it may never come, right? Those levels may never, ever come. We had our drawdowns. So far, our biggest drawdown has been 20%, and that's very tame compared to previous cycles, right? So, I mean, if you're still waiting on the sideline, thinking that Bitcoin is about to make a new low, or you're waiting for it to go to a lower level, you may never get that chance to buy in. Especially this. Looking at this, Bitcoin Archive said the last time he posted this, which was at $41,000, okay, he's just talking about this certain pattern that you see called a hammer candlestick. Last time he posted this, Bitcoin went from 41,000 all the way up to a new high of 73,000, and we just saw that pattern again. If you look at it, you look at the current circle with the previous circle, it's almost identical. It's almost identical, right? Like after we had that hammer candlestick, then we had a weekly where it was like very little in green, and then boom, we start moving. It looks exactly like that. And this week could be that huge week